Very dear boys and girls, students, as well as my friends. In today's video, I'm going to talk about chapter 20 and 21 of the novel, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This novel is from the part of American literature courses being taught in different universities of Pakistan. So, for the benefit of the student, I am explaining it chapter wise. There are so many other videos recorded by me on this novel, and today it's going to be chapter 20 and chapter 21. Chapter 20 is not that significant. It just shows the result of the dialogue which was held between Hester and the minister Dimmesdale, that how they can make their future life suitable or a good one or full of happiness. They had decided to migrate from that Boston city and to go to Europe, and therefore throw out the yoke of that Scarlet Letter, and as a result, their life would be quite good. So Hester was happy. Dimmesdale was also very much happy. In this chapter 20, we are told that Dimmesdale was extraordinarily happy and excited. When he came back to his home, he was showing his happiness to himself and was very much excited also. It was difficult for him to concentrate on his thoughts. He was feeling so much excited. And so the speech which he had written for the governor to be made by him, that speech was changed by him, that was rewritten by him. And the way he was showing his enthusiasm and excitement, that was noticed definitely by his physician, Roger Chillingworth, who is actually the husband of Hester and is living with Dimmesdale as his physician, and was trying to discover the real cause of of Dimmesdale's sadness and worry, as most of the time he tried to do so, but he was unable to find. And today he wanted to know, why is he so much happy? Why is he so much excited? And that is why he couldn't stop himself from asking the question to Dimmesdale, that you had gone to the forest and what you have witnessed there. What is the kind of happiness you have got out of that forest or by meeting those trees? That must be told to him. The answer from Dimmesdale comes in this chapter in the very few lines and that I'm going to show you. These are the highlighted lines, green in color. These lines show the happiness of Dimmesdale. For example, if we read these lines, these are like that. Nay, I think not so, rejoined the Reverend Mr. Dimmesdale. My journey and the sight of the holy apostle yonder, and the free air which I have breathed, have done me good. After so long confinement in my study, I think to need no more of your drugs, my kind physician, good though they be, and administered by a friendly hand. So, people, this is the passage where Dimmesdale answers the question that why he's very much happy. And obviously, in the very first two lines, we can see that he has hidden the truth. He's not told to the physician that he met Hester, what kind of plan they are having. He hides all that and instead tries to put off Mr. Chillingworth by saying that it was the fresh air, it was the open air, it was the open environment, and it was reversed to the confinement, and that's why he's feeling very good. And in the end, he says, as the last line indicated, no more need your drugs. And that's the thing which he tries to emphasize on Chillingworth by saying that I don't need you as physician, I don't need your drugs to cure myself, I'm 100% cured. And that was the very respectful way from Dimmesdale to put off Chillingworth, who was not ready at all to put him off, and he was trying to discover the reason of his happiness, of his excitement. And in the remaining of the chapter, he tried to emphasize that he is very much necessary for his health, and that is why he would continue to stay. And after that discussion between Chillingworth and Dimmesdale, the chapter ends, and we reach chapter 21, the New England holiday, when preparation was being made by many people, along with Hester, Pearl, and Dimmesdale also, to leave that place and to reach Europe in order to enjoy their life. And just the preparation was going on. Seats were being booked, cabins were being booked, and of course, Hester must be very happy. Pearl, as a child, didn't know the importance of this journey, so that is why she was putting different questions. And Dimmesdale should also be very happy, but the fate is something different. As they say, that man proposes and God disposes. The same thing happens in this chapter as well. Let us see what happens. So we will be starting from the gathering of the people in the marketplace, different types of people, and after that, what actually happens to Hester, what she witnesses because of which she postpones her idea of migrating, of going. So the happiness which she was promising towards Dimmesdale and Dimmesdale was promising to her, that also was beyond her limits. One can say that once sad is always sad. Once you become the victim of love, you're always the victim of love. Once you have pain in your heart, once you're isolated, you remain isolated all the time. Perhaps this is the fate of human being. Perhaps this brings the tragedies in our lives, not only in fiction but also in real life. So that is why the happiness which Hester wanted to achieve could not be achieved by her. Let us see how this happened. Going down into the chapter, different passages I have selected for your benefit. For example, look at this paragraph. Look your last on the Scarlet Letter and its wearer, the people's victim and lifelong bond slave, as they fancied her, might say to them, yet a little while and she will be beyond your reach, a few hours longer, and the deep mysterious ocean will quench and hide for ever the symbol which ye have caused to burn on her bosom. Now, this is the paragraph which goes to indicate the importance and significance of the journey which Hester has promised to herself, to Pearl, and to Dimmesdale, that they would be leaving that place and going to Europe, or some place where there will be no presence of this Scarlet Letter. That is why the comment from the writer is coming, that the day is witnessing Hester coming in her grey dress and is wearing the Scarlet Letter and is feeling the heat because of that Scarlet Letter. Not that it's hot, but because the people look at her and they term her in the same way. She has been feeling this thing for the last 7 years, and now the day is going to witness that just after some time, when she starts her journey, she will throw that letter into the sea and she will cross that sea, and ultimately she will be out of that Puritan world where she will be feeling happy. So that is the intention, that is the theme of the whole chapter. But what turns out, that is to be seen by all of us. For this purpose, we need to go down deep into the chapter to see what are the comments come from the writer, what are the situations, what are the things which are happening around. So this pretty bit long passage that we must read before we go forward. And this is the speech spoken by Pearl. And will the minister be there? Asked Pearl, and will he hold out both his hands to me, as when thou leddest me to him from the brookside? He will be there, child, answered her mother, but he will not greet thee today, nor must thou greet him. So that is the kind of irony that we are witnessing in this paragraph, that the child puts a question, that if minister is to come with us, when Pearl and her mother Hester are going to travel on the sea by a ship, minister will be with us. Mother says, yes, he will be there, but they cannot greet each other. They cannot recognize each other. So that is the upsetting question. What was in the forest that she was able to be recognized by Dimmesdale, and he was able to receive love from Dimmesdale, and in the open daylight she cannot. So in the darkness of the forest, what was possible becomes impossible in the daylight. So that is what the problem is going to be. That is what the conflict is going to be. Minister, Hester, and Pearl all are trying to come out of that darkness and face each other, meet each other, love each other in the daylight, in the bright daylight. But it's difficult, because while remaining there, it's really very difficult. So that is why they have decided to go. It is still to be seen whether they will be successful or not. In the remaining part of the passage also has to speak the same thing, that the minister may be standing by the side of the brook and making love to her, not making in the sense of that, but actually showing his love to the child. That says would be quite impossible. So let's see what further dialogue comes. This is one of the important speeches of Pearl, which can be put to question. Why does Pearl say? So the student must be wary about such passages. And here is another passage like that, but here will be the comment on other people. No, this is very significant to say. Why the comment on other people in the marketplace? Because it will tell us many things about the Puritan England and the irony which is going to be this. Let's read it. A party of Indians in their savage finery of curiously embroidered deerskin robes, pom-pom beds, red and yellow ochre, and feathers, and armed with bow and arrow and stone-headed spears, stood apart with countenance of inflexible gravity, beyond what even the Puritan aspect could attain. Nor wild as were these painted barbarians, were they the wildest feather of the scene. This distinction could more justly be claimed by some mariners, a part of the crew of the vessel from the Spain Main, who had come ashore to see the Humorous, humors of Election Day. They were rough looking desperados with sun blackened faces and an immensity of beard. Their white trousers were confined about the waist by belts, often clasped with a rough plate of gold and sustaining always a long knife, and in some instances a sword from beneath their broad brimmed hats of palm leaf, gleamed eyes, which even in good nature and merriment had a kind of animal ferocity. They transgressed without fear or scruple the rules of behavior that were binding on all others, smoking tobacco under the beadle's very nose, although each whiff would have cost a townsman a shilling, and quaffing at their playa draughts of wine or aqua vitae from pocket flasks which they freely tendered to the gaping crowd around them. Now, these two parts of the passage, one contains something about the Red Indians which were present in America before the arrival of these white people there, and similarly the Spanish people whose ship was there. They had come by that ship, and they were also present on that place from where the ship was supposed to go and carry Hester, Dimmesdale, and Pearl to Europe. But my interest in this passage is with this word only, a party of Indians in their savage finery. So, whatever the culture Indian people, not from India, but from America, Red Indians possessed at that time, some of the details of the culture are here: wampum belts, red, yellow ochre, and feather, and bow and arrow. All these things of the Red Indians have been termed to be savage. They have been talked as barbarians in this passage. So it means that for the British people, all local people, their culture, their dressing look just like barbarians. But actually, the writer wants to say that even the barbarians could be welcomed. Even the barbarians could be given space. Even the barbarians could be understood. Even if they are considered savages, they were considered to be present there, and their presence was acceptable. But Hester's presence was not acceptable. Hester's read Scarlet Letter, that was not acceptable. So Hester was considered even worse than these people, that she was punished like that. Same is the case with the Spanish shipmen who were using certain articles, which, for example, tobacco they were using, and they were drinking the wine as well. This thing, according to the writer, was punishable at that time, and that punishment could come to them, but was not being coming. So crime was being committed in one way or the other, but the punishment for Hester was the harshest one. It was not possible for any one of these people to stop that. However, many other people were there present, and they were enjoying their life the way they could, and no law was that much strict upon them, even if the Puritan law was there. Same is the passage here about the Puritans. Thus, the Puritan elders in their black cloaks, starched bands, and steeple crowned hats smiled not unbenignantly at the clamor and rude deportment of those jolly faring men, and it excited neither surprise nor animadversion. Animadversion when so reputable a citizen as old Roger Chillingworth, the physician, was seen to enter the marketplace in the close. So that is the place where not only Puritans in the black clothes are described, but also arrival of Roger Chillingworth is described, that he was a physician and he was present there. So the plan of Hester and Dimmesdale would fail because of the presence of this Chillingworth. Perhaps he got this information from somewhere, that Dimmesdale and Hester were leaving, and how he could stop. He wanted to be the company of that in order to take his revenge from these people, and that is why he was present there. And Hester, first of all, couldn't see, but later on she was able to discover. When you read this passage, you will be able to discover that this had happened. And the shipman also tells Hester that there is another man who would accompany the kind of places of the ship where Hester would be sitting inside the ship. There is another person whose name is Chillingworth. He will also be accompanying Dimmesdale also in the same place. So that is the place where Hester becomes totally upset, and she is unable to decide what to do. But whatever the case may be, it was really difficult to get rid of Chillingworth. He was there, and he was with all his obnoxiousness, all his cunningness, all his expertise, all his revengeful and eventful attitude. He was present there. So in this confusion, in this conflict, the chapter ends, and we will be able to see what happens in the next chapter, so that we may be able to see what happens to Chillingworth, what happens to Dimmesdale, and how do they continue their journey or they stop their journey. So people, this is all about this video that you have watched today. In this video, we have discussed chapter number 20 and 21. 20 chapter has very little material, but 21 number chapter is really very significant, because here a new turn to the story comes. Another escape is made possible, but that becomes impossible in the end. Hester and Dimmesdale wanted to make their life happy, but Chillingworth, as a kind of villain, is there. He would not let it happen. So the story continues, the tragedy is going to fall very soon, and that is to be seen by us in the next coming chapter. So far about this chapter, that's it from me. Hope to see you in some next video. If you like this explanation, if you understand something better than before, then do not feel hesitant to hit the subscribe button and the like button and put in comments or questions as well. So see you next time. Till that time, keep happy, keep loving, keep peaceful. Thank you for watching this video.